Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Friday, February 10th, 2017. This morning, the front page of CNN, the cable news network. Just as you see it, Trump just got checked. And this is part of the ongoing travel ban story, which I've been exposing is a contrived story by the numbers, creating a cultural narrative, understanding of where we are in time. This is all part of the post 9/11 agenda of scaring the American people, thinking there's an Islamic threat, changing policies, rules, procedures within the nation for how things operate. Right after 9/11, it was the Patriot Act. We all lost liberties. The state gained more surveillance rights over all of us, more detention rights, more incarceration rights. You know, since I think 2011 now, I think it's been, the United States of America has been declared an active battleground in the war on terrorism. If you didn't know that, your government, your federal government, I think it was at the end of 2011, New Year's Eve, if I remember correctly, they signed that authorization that made the United States of America an active battleground in the war on terrorism. So, all these things have been going on behind the scenes. And for the average American, none of it's really made any difference. The average American's going to school every day, going to work every day, grinding, trying to keep up, not really paying too much attention to the media, but hearing the buzz. Most people in America just think, well, as long as I stay out of trouble, no harm should come my way. And nobody really thinks much past that. But anyway, here we are. It's 2017 now. It's been 16 years. Well, we're coming up on the 16-year anniversary of September 11th. We have Donald Trump, the president, the man who wants to build a wall, make torture legitimate. He wants to legalize torture, such as waterboarding. He wants stop and frisk in the streets. He wants federal military police in Chicago. He wants to ban 7 nations of the world from being able to travel, immigrate to the United States, largely Islamic nations. They happen to be the 7 same nations that years ago Wesley Clark, the former NATO commander who ran for president in 2004, he was beat by John Kerry. Remember that year, 2004, Bush and Kerry, both members of Yale's Skull and Bones, as the 2 major candidates for president. The secret society that allows 15 members per year. Anyway, Wesley Clark, right around that time, came out. I think he did it on Democracy Now! He announced that memo that he got while he was working at the Pentagon about the U.S.'s intention to go to war with 7 nations in the Middle East. It's the 7 same nations all these years later that are part of this ban, part of this ongoing narrative. But that's what people need to understand. This is a planned narrative. People such as Donald Trump, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter, all these men are puppets on strings that play their part in the ongoing agenda that is meant to lead us all astray. Lead us into this direction we're going. All of us living in this nation are watching the nation decline in the post 9/11 era. And think about it. The 90s, I was a kid who grew up in the 90s, going to high school in the 90s. I graduated 2001 from high school. But, 90s, things were rip-roaring. Everybody was making more money. New technology. In our high school classrooms when we were growing up, we were learning in our science class that our generation was going to live to be great ages because of all the medical advancements. There was just supposed to be, there was all this hope for the direction of things. And then 9/11 happened. And then it's just been the complete opposite direction. And now it's 2017 and the reality TV star Donald Trump is the president of the United States. This ridiculous man calling for ridiculous things that American people are endorsing and supporting. I don't think a lot are, but some are. I thought I forgot to turn the mic on again. I've done it before. So anyway, let's get to the history lesson part of this. Enough ranting from me. Trump just got checked. What's it all about, really? What's the headline all about? If you are new to my channel, I talk about the language of gematria or gematria. A lot of people, when they first hear about this, they think this is the most ridiculous thing in the world. It's not. This is an old world knowledge, been used for thousands of years. It's very simple. It's based on the alphabetic order and adding letters as numbers. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z, the 26th letter, is 26. And what you're looking at right here, you see how it says Trump just got checked and reduced equals 77 and ordinal equals 239? Ordinal is A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z is 26. Reduced, the difference is A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. When you get to J, that's the 10th letter. And in reduced, J's not worth 10. In ordinal, J's worth 10. But in reduced, J is 10 equals 1 plus 0 equals 1. You make each letter a single digit, then you add. So Trump just got checked. When you reduce each letter to a single digit and add, sums to 77. When you use the alphabetic order, sums to 239. And because this is mathematics, there's a mathematical proof. If you ever do this by hand to make sure your work's accurate, here's what you need to know. Both methods in numerology will break down to the same single digit. So 239 is 2 plus 3 plus 9 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. 77 is 7 plus 7 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. It doesn't matter what word, what phrase you type in, it will always be the same. It's mathematics. The reduced and ordinal will always break down to the same single digit number 5. So why are these numbers important? Trump just got checked. What's it matter that they sum to 77 and 239? Well, this is where it gets interesting, and this is where you'll come to appreciate history and how things truly are being rigged by the numbers. And if you've never seen one of my videos before, I have thousands of videos that you can go back and watch. They're all proofs of what I'm showing you. So 239 is the 52nd prime number. And 239 and 52, both very important. Donald Trump turned 70 years old on June 14th, 2016, and that happens to be Flag Day because that's the U.S. flag's birthday. June 14th, 1777. The flag's birthday is in 1777, June 14th. It earned 239 years old this past June 14th, the same day Trump turned 70. The flag in history was sewn in Philadelphia, the original capital, at 239 Arch Street. 239 Arch Street. And we'll talk more about why this number 239 is significant. But anyway, it's 239 years old, the flag. It was sewn at 239 Arch Street. We're getting Donald Trump as the president, who's advocating for a lot of things that are very anti-American historically, even cheering for Russia, you know? And don't get caught up in all that. It's all a puppet show. Russia and the United States are New World Order nations that serve the same banker, tyrant, warmonger masters. They are like the left bicep and right bicep of the New World Order, the US and Russia. But anyway, just Trump advocating for all this stuff. Legitimate torture, stop and frisk, federal military police in cities. This is the post 9/11 agenda, building a police state, a military state, and Donald Trump is the stooge to promote it. But look, 239, it's the 52nd prime number. Donald Trump began his Jesuit college training in 1964 at Fordham University. 64 was 52 years before his election in 2016. Mr. Wall, announced as the 45th president on the anniversary of the Berlin Wall, November 9th. Berlin Wall equals 45. Anyway, he began his schooling in 64, 52 years before 2016. White House equals 52, government 52, prophecy 52. We are living out a planned prophecy. It's no real prophecy, but this gang that's coding by the numbers, which are the Freemasons, the Jesuits, the Zionists, the people controlling world government, world banking, the media. These gangs are executing this way using this code. The Pope went to the White House in 2015 on September 23rd, a date that can be written 23/9. Think about it. The Pope at the White House on 23/9, 239, the 52nd prime. That was also the 266th day of the year. Pope Francis is the 266th Pope. If you go back and watch the festivities of that day, the Pope takes the White House lawn and the podium to begin speaking at 9:23 in the morning on 9/23, September 23rd, or 23/9. This stuff always going on. The Pope right now is the first Jesuit Pope. Donald Trump's a Jesuit. The Jesuits, the Freemasons within the Catholic Church, the Vatican, a lot of influence on world history, U.S. history. So, perhaps we should go here first. They're calling Donald Trump the first Jewish president jokingly, like how they called Bill Clinton the first black president. What's interesting about them calling Bill Clinton the first black president is all throughout history, the number 42 has been stamped on black people. There's a reason Jackie Robinson, the first black baseball player in white Major League, wore 42. February is Black History Month, the only month with 42 gematria. The most hateful word for black people sums to 42. Anyway, they're calling Donald Trump the first Jewish president because all of his children, except for his youngest little boy, have married into Jewish families, and Donald Trump has a history of working with Jewish real estate tycoons. So a lot of articles, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, have joked that Donald Trump is the first Jewish president. The Jewish holy book is the Torah. The Jewish prophecy is that the Messiah will arrive through the Golden Gate. Notice that Torah and Golden Gate sum to 239 in Jewish gematria. This nation from the beginning has been financed by Jewish bankers that make their money through war and lending and destroy and rebuild. What's been going on for way too long in this world. There's a story that came out in 2015 about 239 biological weapons tests. Supposedly a declassified story going back decades with our own government. Look it up. Everything I say, you guys, I just speak facts. Look up everything I say if you doubt anything. Go do the research right now. 2015, article released, declassified information, and I don't even know that this is real. They could just be messing with us. But the story was that over several decades, 239 biological weapons tests were performed over major city populations. And do you know where the first test was performed? San Francisco. And you can go back and read the article. The first test was supposedly performed in San Francisco. It was a Navy vessel that was used to spray a small level of chemical contaminant into the fog. A Navy vessel parked out by the Golden Gate Bridge, the first of 239 tests. And look, you guys, if that makes you go, no way, just throw that story out, because to me it doesn't even really matter. You live in essentially a scientific laboratory, and we, the people, are the experiment. Everything that's being done to us is an experiment. Look at what's going on at this day and age. You know, the food's mostly all artificial, genetically modified. Cost $1 million to buy organic food. At the end of World War II, that was the only kind of food that existed. Organic food. Now it costs a fortune. You can't even afford organic food. So you're eating all this fake food, and, you know, on the TV, they're telling you it's cool, it's the same, it's no different. People are saying, well, I feel full. Meanwhile, all this disease and illness is popping up everywhere, and everyone's going, what's with all the disease and illness? Well, maybe it's because everybody's eating artificial food, you know? Getting vaccinated with all these chemicals from birth that they say you need in your body. You know, shaming people who ask questions. But all this stuff, it's done by this media, you know. They've created this society, and if you look at who runs the media, it's very Jewish. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, because that's a fact. The media is super Jewish. It's super Zionist. It couldn't be any more out of balance. You know, we're supposed to be a nation against monopolies. Well, why are the Jewish people allowed to have a monopoly of world media? Because it's all a joke, people. The laws only apply to certain people. So now here's Donald Trump. We're talking about the headline with the 239 and 77. Look at the coordinates of Washington, D.C. The 38th parallel, just a hair off the 39th, 39 books in the Old Testament, and the 77th meridian. So, Judaism equals 77. So does power. So does Christ. Most Christians are taught that Jesus was a Jew. He was Jewish. The word Jesus and the word Jew have the same gematria, by the way. Jesus, Jew. Jewish is 74. With the S exception, it's also 38. Jesus. See the parallels? Masonic. There's a whole lot more, you know? A lot of parallels. More and more and more. But anyway, Washington, D.C. on the 38th parallel, the 77th meridian, the word Jew, 38, Jewish, as you saw. Nation founded by Jewish bankers. Think about how Washington, D.C. is run by essentially the Federal Reserve, which is not even our own government. It's a panel of bankers who are largely Jewish, which you're not supposed to talk about. That's anti-Semitic to talk about facts. Do you guys realize that's what it is in America? If you talk truth, it's mental illness. If you call out the Jewish ownership of our nation, it's anti-Semitic. Do you see? And for all of you who freak out every time I say Jewish and say it's the Khazars. Look, what Jewish people are objecting to what I'm talking about. So you see what I'm saying? If they're not going to speak against, you know, the evil within their own religion, the false ones, then it makes them all part of the problem. Here's a little lesson about September 11th and the Jews. Undeniable right here. Remember, this whole gematria thing's a Jewish practice. Important point. On September 11th, and if you doubt a word of this, go get a copy of the 9/11 Commission Report and verify it yourself. On September 11th, notice September 11th in gematria sums to 77. On that date, 2001, they said Flight 77 hit the Pentagon, which is 77 feet tall, on the 77th meridian, exactly 77 minutes after taking off. Look it up. It's all there. Flight 77 hits the Pentagon 77 minutes after taking off. And then you can look at the additional. The Pentagon is 77 feet tall, 5 floors above ground, 2 below, so 7 total floors as well. Order out of chaos in Jewish gematria equals 777. Pentagon, military, chaos, needless wars, banker order. It all starts to make a lot of sense. Let's never forget, September 10th, 2001, Donald Rumsfeld, Secretary of Defense, comes out and says the Pentagon has lost $2 trillion. It was 2 point something trillion dollars in 2 years. And he said because of that, the Pentagon would have to decrease its budget, become more transparent. Well, then September 11th happened the next day, and everybody forgot about everything. $2 trillion is an amount of money you can't even comprehend. I think you could cover the whole face of the earth with dollar bills. How do you lose that much money in 2 years? There's a reason they told us about it on September 10th, the day before their planned September 11th. All part of the mocking, you know? So many things went down on September 11th. So anyway, here's another one. DC's on the 77th meridian. Today's date, February 10th, 2017, date with 49 numerology. Revelation in gematria sums to 49. Revelation's the final book of the Bible, book of prophecy and destruction, says the false Jews will rule in the end times. Philadelphia gets its name from Revelation, the original capital. Revelation 49, Washington 49. When you write out 7749, think about how 77, if If you put a multiplication symbol between the two numbers, 7 times 7 is 49. Isn't it interesting? Washington, the first recognized president, the Freemason. So just a little quick lesson this morning, just a reminder in case you didn't know these things about the flag being 239 and 239 Arch Street. I like to touch up on all the things we've been talking about for years for the new people who are here who appreciate it. For all of you who are watching right now who think you just witnessed a waste of your life, I challenge you to go watch a few more of my videos. Any topic. I've shown how it's all scripted, you guys. I mean, all of this connects to way more than what I just showed you. I've shown how the sports leagues are rigged, the elections are rigged, all by the numbers. Same numbers we talk about again and again. Let's just, I gotta, this Kellyanne Conway, every headline they have with this woman is coded by the numbers. Let's see what they got here. I just want to see what this buy Ivanka's stuff equals. Hold on here. I want the buy Ivanka stuff. When the media emphasizes things, okay, I see it already. Buy Ivanka's stuff equals 197, right? And 197 is the 45th prime number. By the way, what we're looking at here, this tool we're using, this is the Gematrinator calculator. If you watch my older videos, I used to have to go to a bunch of different websites to show all this. Somebody who came across this work and at first thought it was crazy, they paid a little bit of attention, they took an interest, and now they've built this awesome website that just has revolutionized the game. Before, I would have had to have gone to Number Empire and said, let me show you that 197 is the 40, oops, got to type the number in, right? 197 is the 45th prime number, and it is, but now on Gematrinator, you can just click right on the number on the screen, prime, yes, 45th. Donald Trump, the 45th president. Mr. Wall announced on the 45th anniversary of the Berlin Wall. I want to show you something cool about Mike Pence and Donald Trump. Mike Pence equals 45, right? Donald Trump's the 45th president. Mike Pence is his VP. Donald Trump equals 48, and Mike Pence is the 48th vice president. Trump 45, Pence 48. When you add those numbers together, 45 plus 48, you get the number for Saturn, 93. The sum of the magic square of Saturn is 45. Interesting. Also, with regards to Berlin Wall, which was just up here, Berlin Wall. Berlin Wall 45, again like Donald Trump, the 45th president, announced on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Berlin Wall construction in history began on August 13th, 1961. A date that can be written 13/8. JFK spoke at the site of the Berlin Wall just before his assassination and was killed 831 days after construction of the Berlin Wall began. A lot of comparisons between Trump, former presidents. They've been drawn parallels between Jackie Kennedy and Melania Trump. The whole baby blue thing. Remember baby blue on Inauguration Day? Baby blue 25, just like Trump. And a million other things. But anyway, Truth Seeker. I mean, this is why this gematria is just such a helpful skill. You can just decode headlines so quick. You can see why they're giving you these stories, why they're emphasizing these phrases, these numbers. It's a ritual. It's a spiritual thing. And you don't have to believe in it for that to matter. So many people dismiss my work because they're like, oh, I don't believe in any of this. Well, who cares what you believe in? That's not the point. The point is there's a group of people who are doing this, and they do believe in this, and they're doing it this way, and by coming to understand that, you can see how they're operating. Some things people just really need spelled out for them. And also, we were talking about Revelation in Washington, D.C. The final book of the Holy Bible has the trumpets warnings in Revelation. There's 7 trumpets that are the warnings. Trumpets. You see what I'm saying? We should all be aware, Truth Seeker, something's up with this orange Oompa Loompa in the White House. And one last point about September 11th. Should have made this earlier. very important point. Our own government, 60 Minutes even put out the information, let us know that on September 11th, some men from Israel were arrested in New Jersey for filming and celebrating during the time of September 11th. And they went back over to Israel on their own TV, and you can still watch their interview today online, and they said that they were sent to the United States of America to document the attack. People from Israel sent to the U.S. to document the attack, meaning they knew it was going to happen. Remember, they tell you all the hijackers were from Saudi Arabia, and they give you this story about the men from Israel. So, those are our two allies in the region. You know, we give a lot of money to those countries. We've never gone to war with them. We went to war with all these other countries. Why? Because it's all part of an agenda, mocking you, putting the facts in front of your face, and expecting you to shrug at them. But look at this. The Jewish faith has a holy day of remembrance called Tisha B'Av, which is the remembrance of the destruction of the two temples in Jerusalem. Tisha B'Av equals 911. The destruction of the two temples. You know? September 11th, 9/11, the two towers. Tisha B'Av, 9/11, the destruction of the two temples. 9/11 is the 156th prime number. False flag equals 156. So does 33 if you write it out. So does 28. Two numbers that do. The reason that matters is because the World Trade Centers existed for 33 years. They were open for 28. The World Trade Centers construction began August 1968, 33 years and a month before they fell down. 1968 was also the year 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. It's also the year George W. Bush graduated from Yale in Skull and Bones. Bonesman. He's a bonesman. Bonesman in gematria sums to 33. George W. Bush has a birth numerology of 33. Becomes president 33 years after graduating from Skull and Bones. Ran against John Kerry, also a Skull and Bones member. He has a fitting name gematria for being a lifelong member of the federal government. America, Jerusalem. Did you notice how Jerusalem and America are both 32 the small way? 7/4/1776, our date of independence. Date with 32 numerology as well as 104. 7/4, like Jewish. You see? So anyway, Truth Seeker, I think we covered it all. There's always more to cover, actually, but we covered a lot. So until next time, Core Truth Seeker, we got to finish with one last part about Donald Trump and his planned selection as the 45th President of the United States and the purposeful announcement on November 9th, the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Donald in Jewish gematria sums to 119. 11/9, November 9th, the fall of the wall. Donald Trump made the 45th president, or announced as. The reflection of that number, Tisha B'Av, 911, reminding us in the United States of September 11th. Notice the date September 11th is written 11/9 in most parts of the world. Donald Trump in his book published January 15th, 2000, The America We Deserve. In that book, he predicts September 11th at the World Trade Centers, blamed on Osama bin Laden. 911 emergency dialing code. Woo. Uh-oh, might be allergy season almost. Look at this commercial from 2010. Donald Trump, he is in the exact same suit he wore on election night. Pay attention to these digital sheep he's talking to, the numbers on them, and what the last sheep says, the final words of the commercial. Watch this. This was telling us Donald Trump was to be the president.
So what do you think of my Trump Home mattress collection by Serta? Finally, the same luxury and comfort I demand in my hotels.
Oh, they'll never count sheep again.
Listen, why don't you come work for me?
What do you have in mind?
Something you were born to do.
Welcome to room 9.
Looking good, number 9, looking good.
Where's your dignity?
So, Where is your dignity? The final question. And don't so many of us feel that way with Donald Trump as the president. Notice the sheep in the background says 11. The sheep in the foreground says 9. 11-9. Donald 119 announced as the 45th president on November 9th. Talking about born to do, wearing the same suit, standing like he's at attention. Look at the gematria of this phrase, looking good number 9. I want you to see this here. Looking good number 9. 239. Donald Trump, 239 years old was the flag the day he turned 70, where we began, 239 Arch Street. Looking good number 9. There's also a 113 here. Donald Trump. Jesuit, Scottish Rite Freemasons, Scottish 113. Special number to the gang. Dishonest 113. Mainstream 113. What's more mainstream than Donald Trump? You know, Mr. Apprentice. Bava Kama 113A says it's okay for somebody who's Jewish to lie to somebody who isn't. You see? Looking good, number 9. This commercial, 2010. I'll show you one more thing that's interesting about this commercial. It was for Serta. Serta has gematria of 63 using the alphabetic order. I just want to, if you click where it says the breakdown, it shows you just what the math is. S is the 19th letter, E the 5th. Serta equals 63. 63, when you add every number, 1 through 63, it sums to 2016. That's what's called its triangular number. You see that? When you count every number 1 through 63 and add them together, it sums to 2016. Donald Trump would be announced the 45th president in 2016. This commercial for Serta came out in 2010. Where's your dignity? They'll never count sheep again. You know, they say that making you think it's about counting sheep, sleeping on a mattress, but really, there's another message. You know who the sheep are? It's the people who vote. All the sheep, what they do is they validate the lie. And I have so many people get so angry with me when I tell them why I don't vote. They say, well, then you can't say anything about anything. And I always laugh at those people. I say, well, now you're just following what you've been told to say and think. I said, do you realize that when you vote, you're voting for the lesser of two evils? I mean, almost all of you guys say that, but not only that, your votes aren't even really being counted. You're just validating a lie because the winner's already predetermined. I mean, everyone saw what a joke it was, especially on the Democratic side of the ticket. Bernie Sanders, everywhere he went, was, filling up stadiums. Bernie Sanders went to Vancouver, Washington, small town suburb of Portland, Oregon, which isn't that big of a city. Bernie Sanders had like the whole southwest region of Washington showing up trying to get into a high school gymnasium to watch him early on a Saturday morning. You ever seen teenagers get up early on Saturday morning to go listen to an old man speak? I feel bad for people because they don't realize that Bernie Sanders is an agent. He's there to give hope to the hopeless. But his message was bringing the people out. Record numbers. Bernie Sanders would have won the election if it was all legit. Then people would have got to see how he'd go to Washington and do nothing else either. But people, they just don't see, The point is, though, that Hillary Clinton, I'm sure if you could count what the votes really were, Bernie Sanders was probably getting 10 votes for every vote Hillary got. So how did she win the nomination? You know what I mean? It's all a joke. It's all a joke. Looking good, number 9. 11 and 9 on the screen. Guy that predicts September 11th, blaming it on Osama bin Laden at the World Trade Centers. These people are a criminal network that put the whole truth right in front of our face, and the American people just shrug their shoulders, like my sister. I'm explaining to her all this stuff, and she's saying that I'm mentally ill. Amazing. The truth is, the people in our society who call truth tellers mentally ill, the truth is that they really are mentally ill. They have no logic, they have no reason, they hate the truth, they call names, they just have program responses. If that's not mental illness, I don't know what is. People who supported Donald Trump, if that's not mental illness, I don't know what is. Billionaire, born with a silver spoon in his mouth, never had to do anything. Mocks handicapped people. Now the President of the United States, the pussy grabber. Unreal. Until next time, true seekers.